But between now and then, if he matters are up for discussion, you're welcome to the show once again. And let's get things going with the traditional side comment. Random stories, random thoughts of mine, which will not be discussed at this time, but much later on I could take your thoughts on it after the major is at 6 p.m. during the open season segment. I do have a round coming up today as well. Yes, I do. I didn't yesterday because yesterday was a holiday. And usually, holidays, festive periods, I take something of a break from the rants, and I simply glad to get you what you're thinking because I think plenty times, and I express my thoughts on some issues during maybe my side comments, yes, and especially the rant. But on those days, I'd like to get a lot of what you're thinking, and it was quite insightful yesterday. Some of the thoughts that did come in. Yeah. But the rant returns today. Shortly, I'll get to that. I'll take your thoughts and mine till 4 p.m. We've got business news at 4 o'clock. Yes, we do. And after that, let's see what happens. We got business news. Yeah. And now, after that, it is Wednesday. So also, as is customary, we have been Canvas and Niger Delta Run to be brought to you by SPDC on the show today, as we do every Wednesday, discussing the progressive development of the Niger Delta region. A very important conversation as well that we must keep having. Today on the show, we're discussing pipelines, bunkering, artisanal refineries, and your safety. That's the conversation on the show today. My guest on the show is John Okoje. He's a pipeline expert. He'll be my guest on today's edition of the show. I'll take us at 5 o'clock. We got the news update at 5, and discussions continue right after that. Is another security outfit going to help? That appears to be a fad in the country these days. Security outfits. Security outfits. Can someone tell me something that's a fad these days? Something that I don't know is popular on the internet or that people buy a lot or that's popular amongst young persons. I don't know. It could be an item. It could be anything. Can someone help me out via WhatsApp on 0809 030 6416? That's 0809 030 6416. Something that's like a fad these days. Something that's really popular. Maybe amongst young people or amongst not so young people, because young people have a tendency of turning things into a fad or making things quite popular. So, can I get an example? Someone says smartphones. No, smartphones are not a fad, I think. Smartphones have been around for some time right now. Data. Okay. Someone says Squid Game. That's from Bruno. Okay, alright. Someone says Aza. What's Aza? I don't know what that one is. Can you explain, please? Can you explain, whoever sent this in, can you explain what AZA is? A-Z-A. I don't know what that is, but if you could help. So, I don't know. So I was saying security outfits. Someone says account number. Okay, I still don't get that. AZA means bank account. So in this context, what does that mean? I don't get it really. Okay. All right. Someone says sports betting. That's from Stan rather. Okay, Stan. I think Stan's response is a bit more tailored to what I'm talking about right now. Yeah. I mean, there's so many sports betting companies out these days. There was a time when you could count the sports betting companies on the tip of 5 fingers, But now there's so very many of them. If you're watching TV, maybe even cable TV, or you're on social media, or you're on the internet, you're browsing, and these ads come up, you find so very many sports betting companies out there these days. In a way, that's kind of how security outfits are in Nigeria now. It's almost like a new security outfit is springing up somewhere every other day. Governments at different levels springing up security outfits. Yeah, security outfits. So I think Stan's response is more like it. This was on the news. On our news, was it yesterday? Yesterday, I think it was yesterday. Where is it? It's here somewhere. Yes, Chairman of Asarito LGA, Oneng Giofuri George, Chairman from MOA Chidi Lloyd, Akoko Toru, Roland Sekibo, and Degima, Michael John Williams, are set to launch a security outfit along the Emoha Kalabari Road this week. Chairman of Akutoro Local Government area, Roland Sekibo, told newsmen after the security meeting held at the Asari Toro Local Government Council Secretariat in Buguma that it is geared towards strengthening security along the road to boost economic activities in the LGAs. Now, he said the security outfit will be provided with operational vehicles and other security gadgets. Let's hear what this chairman had to say about this latest in a series of security outfits all across the country, really, including here in River State.
Let me first of all start by thanking my colleagues for the huge sacrifice we have all made in making sure that we provide security for our people. With all pleasure, today's meetings basically we have talked about putting our words into actions. And let me also use the opportunity to invite you, the general public, especially people from Emoa, Degema, Asaitora, and Akutoro, that by our next meeting we'll be commissioning our security outfit so that people will begin to apply that road without any fear of being kidnapped.
All right, so I'll be speaking with the Emoa Local Government Council boss, Dr. Chidi Lloyd, on this latest security outfits. You might remember that even Emoha local government area is setting up or has set up its own security outfit. And now there's this one in collaboration with I think 3 other LGAs. How exactly is that going to function? Several matters here, several talking points. What are the chances this security outfit or this latest one will address security challenges in these LGAs? Dr. Chidi Lloyd joins me for that conversation in a public hour. Headlines 5:30, major news at 6 p.m. Open season comes up after that till about 7 o'clock when we wrap up the show for today. So I'm seeing lots of comment here via WhatsApp on the whole AZA thing. Means account number, send your AZA, send your account number. Oh, really? Okay. Someone says AZA is used to mean a bank account number. That's Mike Obiano from Chinda. But that's interesting. Someone says, I need urgent 2K. It's raining now. Okay. Where have I been? Really? I don't know. Am I getting old or something? I had no idea what that meant, really. But thank you. Thank you. We learn every day. Now I know what AZA is. You know, that's a good thing, I suppose. Okay, so that's it for the show today. Do I have any side comments? A candlelight session will hold at Waterline Junction today. Yesterday, victims of police brutality in Port Harcourt, like the Coco 4 late Lake's father, were part of the live discussion to mark the NSAS memorial. And it's good to know that people are making arrangements and to have these conversations and to have this show of solidarity and to mass mobilize people to think consciously, to conscientize people as well as to the anomalies in our society and have conversations about these issues and how people talk about it, and hopefully it will engender a wave, a kind of spirit, a oneness, if you will, if I may use that expression, that will offer some kind of focus and direction to persons in Nigeria, to citizens, especially the young population, with a view to effecting positive change in this country, and that's a good thing. And we're still waiting and hoping that the families and loved ones of the Kokofo and the surviving Kokofo will get justice themselves. The Slicks family will get justice, and all other persons who have been victims of police brutality and extrajudicial killings by police and other security agencies will get justice as well. We very much hope for that. All right, so I think that might be it for today's side comments. Let's just quick look at the bulletin from earlier on. Well, as you're aware, in Lagos, Abuja, and some other major cities across the country, there was a there were protests held to in remembrance of the unfortunate incident in Lekki in Lagos, also to mark the NSAS anniversary and all of that. And interesting, especially, I don't know if you were watching on TV today, but I was watching some of the major news channels on TV this morning, watching what was transpiring in Lagos, especially in Lagos and Abuja. And, well, things didn't start quite well in Lagos. The police were a bit exuberant. Unsurprisingly, there was somewhat exuberant and excited in Lagos. But eventually, the situation became calm somewhat. The protest held eventually. Of course, the protesters were ingenious about it, knowing what could happen if they gathered, at the Lekki toll gate. So they were ingenious about it. They led vehicle processions around the Lekki toll gate area. The protest was able to hold. But as soon as they somewhat dispersed from there, the police were at it again, randomly arresting people, harassing people, beating people up. Even some journalists were punched and beaten up as well, harassed at the Lekki toll gate earlier today. Unfortunate scenes, some of the pictures I saw on TV, at the Lekki toll gate area in Lagos. It does say quite a lot really about how long away we still have to go. But the fact of the matter is, nothing good comes easy. And there is no society, not one anywhere in the world that is referred to as advanced today or civilized, where or society that have even become the envy of citizens in other parts of the world, that did not have people demanding accountability, that did not have people insisting the right things be done. And it gives me joy because I know that we are headed in that direction. And that's the fact. It gives me joy knowing that in spite of some seeming obvious danger that's looming, there are Nigerians who are still willing to do whatever it takes, legally, of course, legally, to ensure that we have a Nigeria that we can all be proud of. And that for me tells me that it's not all doom and gloom. That tells me that we have a chance. We've got hope in this country, and things will work. And no matter how much oppressors try to oppress people and push them down, there's always going to be that voice. And that's one thing I think we're blessed with in this country. We have people whose voices can never be shut, and who are going to rise and who keep on rising and discussing the future and progress of this country. And that tells me I have absolutely no doubt that we are going to have that Nigeria for our dreams in the not too distant future, actually, in the not too distant future. So I think I'm going to wrap up today's side comment on that note. But interesting times, really. Interesting times for the APC in Rivers State. I wish I had time. I don't have time. I have to move on right now. I have to move on. But maybe in the coming days, maybe before the end of the week, hopefully we'll have some more discussions on what's playing out with the APC in Rivers State now. They say they have parallel executives in the state. Okay. All right, and the APC are insistent that 2019 is not going to play out for them in 2023. We'll see how that goes. The optimism, obviously, is quite something to behold. How far the optimism will take the party, I'm not quite certain about that, really. But interesting times for the APC, and the plot thickens as far as the APC in Rivers State is concerned. The plot definitely thickens. And we'll see where this goes. All right, break right now. When I return, today's round comes up. Please stay with us.
Our freedom depends on our proactive responsibilities.
Let's talk, act, and be about development.
With one voice, our potential is realized. This is your number one news, talk, and sports radio station. 92.3 Nigeria Info. I am listening.
When knowledge meets action, information liberates.
How informed do you need to be driving a fast-changing world?
Listen to experts only.
Keep your dial locked on 92.3 Nigeria Info for the best of news, talk, and sports 24/7.
I am listening. Are you?
And now, hard facts.
Hard Facts with Dayo.
Hello, welcome back to Hard Fact 91.3 Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dayo, and I'd like to rant for just a bit. I've got something in my mind. I'd like to express some thoughts in it. You're very welcome to express your thoughts in mine all the way to 4 p.m. Today is October 20, 2021. About 2 years since what some describe as the massacre at the Lekki toll gate, or the Endsars massacre. Of course, government and government agencies or officials are very quick to debunk that statement to expression, insisting that there was no massacre at the Lekki toll gate October 20 last year. However, investigations are still ongoing. The jury is still out on that one, and I think the Lagos State panel of inquiry that sat on the Endsars and police brutality matters, I think, wrapped up its own work. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago? So we'll wait for the report of all of these panels and the one by the federal government as well to release the report, and we'll see where it goes from there. But whether or not there was a massacre, many claim there was, some claim there wasn't. The fact of the matter is October 20 will be a date that's very much remembered in Nigerian history, and it's because a lot of Nigerians rose up and said, you know what, enough is enough. And it's very interesting to note that some persons, lots of persons, especially those on the side of government, try to give a certain perspective of the Endsars protest and the October 20 incident as being about hoodlums and destruction of property and mayhem and looting and robbery. And yes, there was a lot of that, but those were caused by miscreants. Those were caused by criminals who simply needed any opportunity to cause mayhem. The Endsars protest had nothing to do with looting. It was not about burning up buildings or arson or destruction or anything like that. But something led to it. So much had been happening for quite a while. As a matter of fact, the Endsars slogan had existed long before last year, and it was simply a reply or reaction or a response to police brutality and extrajudicial killings by the police. And it's gone on for quite a long time. And it's unfortunate when people talk about Endsars and talk about the destruction of the youth. How could they have done this? How they are destroying our country? But the fact of the matter is, for years Nigerians had complained. For years, Nigerians had complained. For so many years, Nigerians had complained and lifted their voices and cried out in desperation as to what they were facing: the torture, the abuse, the extortions, the robberies, the killings at the hands of our police officers, whose job it is, by the way, to protect us. For years, this crying and wailing had gone on, but it seemed like nobody was listening. Nobody was listening. And the fact of the matter is, there is only so far as to which you can push a person, even one individual, let alone the people. If everybody has a breaking point, everybody has a tipping point, and you might regard the Endsars protest as something of a tipping point for a lot of Nigerians, which is why those protests were held in the first place. However, whether or not there was a massacre in Lekki, 1 year afterwards, what has happened? The government promised reforms. SARS was said to have been disbanded. A new unit, SWAT or something like that, was said to have been set up by the federal government. The government said they would look into welfare of security agents, the police, which, by the way, very important to note, was one of the demands of the NSAS protesters. It's so ironic, isn't it? The people were even speaking on behalf of the police, yet the police were beating them up, torturing them, and allegedly killing them as well. Almost like the police want the situation to remain as it is. It's quite the irony, isn't it? But I'll get to that shortly. So 1 year afterwards, what has happened? What has changed? Do we still have police brutality? Yes, we do. Do we still have extrajudicial killings by the police? Yes, we do. Do we still have illegal checkpoints along the place, harassing innocent civilians, extorting them, taking them to ATMs to withdraw money, threatening to shoot them and kill them, and nothing will happen if they don't get withdraw money and pay them, or arresting people illegally, taking them to their station, torturing them, locking them up, insisting they bail themselves based on trumped up phantom charges? Do we still have all of that? The answer is yes, we still have all of that, as a matter of fact. And I've had cause to have interactions with some police officers who, in some ways, have blamed the media as well for the perception of the people, of the populace about the police. And the thing is, and I've said several at different times when I have the privilege of engaging security officials on these matters, especially those of the police, the media does not fabricate the news. The media reports what's happening. And the question is, do Nigerians experience these things that the media reports? The answer is yes. And there is an attempt to suggest that these are few and far cases, and they are just one-off incidents and just a few bad eggs. But the answer is no. They're not just a few bad eggs. It's not just one-off incidents. I don't know what police station in Rivers State, for example, and anybody, please feel free to counter this. I don't know that there is one police station in Rivers State where the police officers there do not collect illegally, extort monies from people. Do not, even though they might have some huge signboard or poster by the counter saying bail is free, that do not demand monies from people in the name or in the guise of bail. I don't know. I mean, if you say it's a one-off, if you say that there are few and far between a few bad eggs, how come almost, if not every police station is known for doing this? So it's become something of a culture, something of the norm. And the media is not the enemy of the police. The media is not the enemy of the police. The Nigerian citizens are not the enemy of the police. And the police is also, police officers or other security officials are quick to point out the rot in our system as to how even government actions or inactions has made the police what it is. Now, to that extent, I agree, because there are several sides to this situation, how the police is or how security agencies are run, and especially given their interaction with the civilian population of society. Government is very much to claim. As a matter of fact, I had a conversation with a senior police officer in Rivers State, and he said to me that the police is what government wants it to be. And for me, that statement is a profound statement, and I agree with him 100%. 101% I agree with him. The police in Nigeria, other security agencies in Nigeria, is exactly what government wants it to be, and that's a fact, because it seems like it's a tool of oppression. It's a tool that is employed to subdue the people, to keep them under. Because in no sane society can any people stand for the kinds of atrocities that so-called leadership in our country perpetuate on a daily basis. So one way to keep the people down, to keep the people subdued, to shut their voice, especially when they want to ask questions, is to ensure that security systems or agencies can be manipulated and weaponized against the people. So I do succumb to that position that the government, or the police rather, is exactly where government wants it to be. So, in talking about the issues of the police, the citizens must consider as well the role and the responsibility of elected government officials at local government level, at state level, at federal level. Yes, we can argue, what's the business of state and local government with this? The federal government is the one responsible for the police. The police are answerable to the IG is answerable to the president. Yes, when we must focus on the federal government and the president and ask vital questions and be concerned as to who is elected to that office, because it's very critical how everything else works out, including and especially the police. But state governments and local governments are also responsible here because they also employ the police. They go about with a battalion of police officers and other security agents as the security aides. In Rivers State, for example, when unfortunately, sadly, and it should never have happened, hopefully it never happens again, when police officers are killed under any guise, in whatever circumstance, the government of the day rises up immediately to the defense of these, or the families of these police personnel, even splashing humongous sums of money to the families that they've left behind. But when similar things happen to civilians at the hands of the same police officers, the government is quiet on the matter. It raises many questions, really. Why is there that, that dichotomy, if you will? Why that difference in approach? When government wants to impose a curfew in Rivers State, for example, directives are given. The police obey that. They do that. But, so if we can give directives to police on the right things to do, when it comes to government's position on matters, all of a sudden the governor is the chief security officer of the state, and he can give directives and they obey. When it has to do with the people, then the larger populace, the civilians, the masses, all of a sudden we are reminded as to how the governor is the chief security officer of the state, just in title. He doesn't control the police. They're not answerable to him. They're answerable to Abuja. Many questions, really. And one can even say the same thing at local government level as well. So a lot can be said about government actions or inactions at every level as regarding that. Back to the federal government, they don't provide enough for them. Remuneration is poor. Logistics is bad. Training is... sometimes when you encounter some police officers on the roads, you wonder if they received any kind of training at all. Even the kind of training you should get at secondary school level. You really wonder, actually. But then again, so we must focus on government. We must focus on the quality of people who ascribe to those positions and who get there eventually. Not just people who have structure or on grant, whatever the heck that even means, really. I don't understand how that can be the basis for a person winning an election, structure and being on grant. So, but while we focus attention on government, back to our police guys as well, that you have not given enough bullets, or that you're not given enough buttons, that you have to buy buttons for uniforms or buy your own boots, cannot be an excuse to take a young man who probably learns programming or learns coding and struggle to get a laptop so he can improve his fortunes and hopefully improve the fortunes of his family as well. You see him in a taxi, you grab him, you beat him up, you accuse him of being a fraudster. You have no evidence to prove this other than you saw him with a laptop. Next, you beat him up, you harass him, intimidate him, take him to an ATM, force him to withdraw all the money he has there, money for his school fees, money for other things, and then you throw him out into the dark. That cannot be the way out. That cannot be the solution to you not having money for buttons and money for boots and all of that. Because if you say that's your excuse, you don't have money for boots and money for buttons, then the so-called fraudsters you are looking for, they have an excuse as well. Government has been horrible. Unemployment is terrible. So they resorted to fraud. And armed robbers also will have an excuse. Unemployment is at an all-time low. Government is terrible. There's no food to eat. That's why they resort to armed robbery. Kidnappers have an excuse as well. Unemployment is terrible, or is very high rather. Government is bad. Nothing's working. That's why we have to kidnap people as well, because we want to eat. We need to clothe our families. We need to feed ourselves. We need to send our children to schools also. Everybody has an excuse to do something illegal, to do something wrong. So not having enough buttons or not being paid well cannot be the excuse to kill people's families, to fathers, to kill people's mothers, to kill people's children, people's uncles, people's friends, because you don't have enough money for buttons and you want to extort money from them at all costs. Not having money for buttons cannot be the excuse to kill Chima Ekunado, to kill Slick, to kill... I mean, the list is almost endless, really. I can go on and all of that. So, but 1 year after, what has happened? Has it changed? No, it hasn't. And I've had my fair share of encounters with police officers. Some weeks ago, along the Ada George area, I think it was Ada George, and some night. Somehow, some police officers stopped me in the vehicle I was in. Even some way, one of them identified me and threatened, "Oh, you're the one. You know, did you hear we dealt with your other colleague?" It was referring to Kofi Patel's, that we're going to deal with you as well one day soon as well. You know, and you wonder why. We're not the enemy. I'm not your enemy. The civilians who are trying to struggle just to get enough money to buy beans. Beans are here these days is astronomically expensive. They're not the ones holding back the money for your buttons or the money for your bullets or the money for whatever it is you need money to buy these days or to fuel your vehicles, because you also claim that there's no money for fuel. That's why you extort and kill Nigerians. Nigerians are not the ones holding back the money for your fuel. Nigerians are not the ones, the masses are not the ones who own filling stations. They're not the ones selling the fuel. At most, maybe they are petrol attendants. But then again, that doesn't mean they don't want to sell fuel to you if you take money there to buy the fuel. So now to the masses, as I wrap up today's rant, there's the temptation to wonder and even maybe throw this back in my face as well. Yeah, you people say we should talk. You people say we should do this. People say we should be conscious. After NSAS and the protest and all that, 1 year after, what has changed? Well, something is changing. Something is given. We're heading in a certain direction, and that's the fact. If you want to bring about any change that's worth bringing about, doesn't happen overnight. People talk. People are consistent. People are persistent about it. Success is not given to you on a platter of gold. You have to earn it. You have to work hard at it. And I wonder how Nigerians are unable to understand this, because a lot of Nigerians even go to church, for crying out loud. And your men of God over there tell you how that you have the kingdom of God suffering violence and the violent take it by force. So in church, you understand that how you must persevere and persist. But outside of church, when things that affect your life, even your future, all of a sudden you don't want to persist with that one. Well, tough luck. Good luck to you on that. But the fact of the matter is, if you don't want to do anything about it, that's fine. There are people who will. Don't stand in their way, all right? We don't need your negative vibe or your negative energy, really. But the conversation must continue, and things will change. And it may not seem like a lot has changed in 1 year. Actually, not very much has, because all the problems we had with the police 1 year ago are still with us right now. But if we keep the conversation going, if we keep talking, if we keep acting, if we keep doing the right thing, if we keep pushing out that wall, eventually it's going to cave, it's going to fall, something will happen. We will have a Nigeria we can all be proud of. We will have a responsible and responsive police in this country. And we will be the envy of other nations, and other citizens of other countries will be looking forward to coming to Nigeria and living whatever it is becomes the Nigerian dream. On that note, I end this very long rant. Many thanks for listening. I hope you were not bored. Let's get your take on this. The numbers are the same line 0, and we got 0817 923 0002 or 0003 or 0007 live on facebook.com/Nigeria Info PH. WhatsApp is on. I'm taking calls right now. WhatsApp is on 089 030 6416. Okay, I guess I have to do this myself then. Hello, hard fact to welcome.
Good evening.
All right, go ahead.
My name is Tony. I'm calling from GRA.
Go ahead, Tony.
Okay, I don't know if you have an update for what the NSAS protest anniversary that took place in Lagos today.
Tony, I can't give you an update right now. If you need an update, you wait for the news, or you go online and search online for any updates.
Okay.
What do you have for me? Hello, hard fact to welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon. This is Great Mind.
Hello, go ahead.
Yes, well said. History says men don't learn from history. So they repeat the same mistakes and go the same way of fools. And like Shakespeare, fools die like cowards, and cowards die many times before their time. It's obvious, I've said this 1,001 times, that those respectable persons who constitute the Nigerian police force, like other security operatives, have deliberately and inadvertently pitched themselves against the law-abiding, peaceful people who are asking for genuine demands, and in fact, it's for the good of all. If tomorrow there's improvement in the force, there's improvement in the society, the police people will benefit. They are first of all human beings before they are policemen.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I don't get it. Why they see the citizens who are asking, they're not armed, like today, that they will say, oh, these people are carrying arms, they're not armed, but they're saying, no, things must change. We are the taxpayers. This it belongs to all of us. It's not you, because you're privileged to be a leader. It doesn't mean it belongs to you. The way you are leading us, we don't like it. Change this, change that. And they use rhetoric to say, okay, we are on it. Since last year to now, what have they changed? Nothing. the police collect bribes. To tell me that the president does not know, the IG does not know, the commissioner of police does not know, of the state, the governor does not, they know. Which means it is a collaborative and a deliberate plot against the citizens. Because they are the ones to answer the questions. Just like if I come to your office and your business is getting bribe on the roof, I will question the head of that establishment. So if a sister comes to Nigeria and sees that the police is collecting bribes, is assaulting citizens because you're carrying tattoos, because you're carrying dreadlocks, because you're carrying laptops, just like that, without respect, they give you summary judgment and they shoot you on the spot. They challenge them for every slim thing, for 15 naira they kill you, and nobody is dealt with sanctions or brought to the public to say no. I mean, what they're asking for is trouble. I want to plead to the IG. I want to plead to the president.
Wrap this up now, please.
I see at the horizon danger is looming.
Oh, pardon me. Well, great to hear from you, sir, really. Sorry about that, though. Hello, you're welcome, 91.3.
Yeah, thanks. I think I want to dwell a little bit on the statement made by the senior police officer who she quoted, that the police we have today is actually the outcome of what the government wants it to be. But I want to extend that a little bit to say that even the government that we have today is also the outcome of what the society wants it to be.
Oh, that's interesting.
The kind of government we have tolerated. So if that be the case, it means that the police we have today is also the result or the outcome of what we want it to be as a society.
Yeah.
And like you said in closing your rant, today we arise as a people to say no to bad governance, say no to police brutality. I tell you, it's going to stop. One day, NSAS protest is not going to solve it. It's going to be should be consistent, it should be persistent. We should never waver until we see the change that we want in our society. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Oh, let's go on over to via WhatsApp. Dear Di, I feel like you're right. Today is the victory speech of the president of a new Nigeria. You are correct. If we keep talking, keep acting, keep pushing out this wall, one day it will fall. And that's from Big Will. Hello, 91.3, welcome.
Dayo, good afternoon.
Hello, go ahead.
It's okay, Dayo.
Go ahead.
Dayo, Nigerian police is not learning from past history that happened to them. I'm surprised this is the police is behaving the way they're behaving. Then after 1 year of this NSAS protest, I feel like the police is more worse in brutalizing people. Dayo, on Monday I was assaulted at UAC roundabout by a police corporal named Pastor. He molested a bus driver, a taxi driver. I said, please take it easy. The policeman gave me a hot slap in my face at my train UAC. I don't know when police will start learning all these junior police officers. They die if you go to Ebo school, it is fan police officer. I will think the commissioner of police and the deputy commissioner of police. 5 gentlemen you can have, they will say, but I don't know this police will come on the road. So I don't want they're not trained or they're not learning from the past mistakes. Therefore, me, I let them take the psychiatric test. All police, all for the crew to down. So it's better, let them do the psychiatric test.
All right, sir. Great to hear from me as well. Hello. Via Facebook, Kinsley Good goes, for me, something has changed because we now speak out about it, though it might be little dire. But my observation is that whenever any security agency is allegedly accused of any wrongdoing here in River State, nothing is done about it by the government or the security agencies. But I have seen few actions taken by other states like in Lagos, Akwa Ibom, and most recently, the viral video from Kogi State. The police officer has been apprehended, unlike here in River State. Hello, hard fact, welcome.
Hello, Dayo. Good afternoon.
Hi, go ahead.
Dayo, I want to be one among the ones that will keep campaigning and keep promoting what you are promoting. Dayo, if anybody have threatened to do anything, after finishing with you, you also start with me and some other Nigerians who are ready to continue where you stop. Be courageous. Nobody will do you anything. In as much as you are trying to do concerning what the police is doing. You are not an enemy to police. You have never come to the air to criticize a policeman doing his work diligently. You see the man, you heard his voice now, Cookie Gan himself. He's not joking. He has spoken this into 95.1. He has said this into 91.7. That means if Cookie Gan himself will never feel concerned about this police brutality will come out on the air and speak this way, brother, there is need for Nigerians to rise up on their feet. Keep talking. Keep doing it. People on your side. A day shall come when the change will come, whether they like it or not.
All right. I don't know if I can take another call. Can I? Maybe not actually. Well, I'll see how that goes. I do have to wrap up this segment in a moment. I'd say. Hello, Di. You've spoken well, but I dare say the police and the government are a replica of society. Just recently, a colleague of mine was actively being scanned by a young man in Asaba. He painted gory stories about his family and his schooling. This lady is just a regular woman, not rich, but she felt she was helping an indigent kid in Nigeria. The people need a rebirth, and the police, who are also Nigerians, will be back to that. So, Macpaul, I'm not sure that is. When you talk about maybe one person engaging in internet fraud, and you try to label the Nigerian people as that, I think it's quite faulty, and especially if you are Nigerian as well. These are two different things. They're on two different. You can't compare the culture of police brutality with a handful of Nigerians engaging in some kind of crime. There's no way you don't have crime. There's no way you don't have people engaging in crime. And the vast majority of Nigerians are very hardworking, decent, intelligent, brilliant, innovative people. That's the majority of Nigerians. Yes, some persons are engaging in illicit or illegal activities, but that does not describe who Nigerians are as a people. So anyways, great talking so far. But like a caller said a while ago, maybe if we explore this conversation a little further, we can conclude that even the police is what Nigerians want also. If you elect people into office only because they say they have structure and they are on ground, and campaigns is all about shouting and screaming expletives about and insulting other people, then maybe this is what we actually wanted. I don't know. Anyways, a commercial break right now, but if we keep pushing, we're gonna get there. Business news comes up right now. Canvas and afterwards, please stay with us.